Brian Frill, the marketing director, and Laura Carroll making the honours for the Irish Daily Mirror novice hurdle. Now, what a year it's been for Paul Townend. 12 months ago, a blip that is still unaccountable. A month ago, a win with the very same horse in steeplechasing's most coveted prize. Ted Walsh recently caught up with Paul.
Album photo is left in front from Phineas Oscar. Drama here as album photo has gone out through the rail. The storytellers in front from jury duty.
Drama and drama. That was absolutely extraordinary. Just what did happen?
Something got his attention to make him think he should have bypassed him. I don't know what it was.
Album photo gave you your biggest day, but he also gave you one of your worst days in racing.
Yeah.
You bounced back from it very quick the next day with a treble. What did it do to you on the day?
Yeah, it was a low. It was a proper low. I didn't understand it myself, even, to be honest. And it was a long night, and it was a daunting place to come in here the next day. I was not a wink did I sleep. Like I remember driving into the yard the next morning. I was embarrassed to get out of the car into my friends and people I knew, like, you know.
I know you didn't dwell on it because you came out the next day and rode 3 winners. It didn't affect you. Have you come to any other frame of mind of why you did it?
No, I can't explain it, to be honest.
Yeah.
And I tried not to think about it.
Yeah.
Like I remember watching.
It's easy to look back at it now because like you've won the Gold Cup and Champion
It still isn't, to be honest.
Is it not?
No, I remember watching the race, riding album photo the night before the Gold Cup.
Yeah.
And I turned off the race, turning into the straight.
Did you?
I did, yeah.
You don't want to see this car crash?
No, I don't need to see that. I don't need to remind myself of that now again. I remember driving up here on the Wednesday, and I got a message off Pat's mum, and it just put everything into perspective, you know, and that meant a lot.
Yeah, in fairness to you, you just got on with it the next day. It was some relief to have Aldura.
I stopped the lights. I remember turning in thinking, I remember jumping the second last, and there was a couple in front of me, and David was going well outside me. And I said to myself, sure, just sit here now, don't panic. Things can't go as wrong as they did yesterday. Luckily enough, it opened up then for me, but I still remember thinking that, like, you know, it can't go worse than it did yesterday, so just wait here now and it'll happen.
And as for yesterday,
that's behind us now.
You couldn't have foreseen 12 months in advance what album photo would actually do to you.
No, and it probably made winning the Gold Cup a bit more special as well. I'd have been delighted if someone else was riding him that he'd won, but I'd also, realistically, I'd have been disgusted that I wasn't on him myself, you know, and made up for what I had done.
And in the Gold Cup now, at any stage, what stage did you say to yourself, I know no one counts their chickens before they're hatched, but at what stage did you say to yourself, this could be my day?
I was surprised how easy I got into the race. Like I could have been last jumping the first, and by the time we got down the back, jumped a couple. He just jumped himself into a position, and I remember heading down there, facing down the back the second time, saying, "Jeez, I'm in a grand position here now, and I'm in a good rhythm, you know." And the top of the hill, I thought, I've never got this far in the Gold Cup going this well, you know. That I have a little life here, and when I gave him a squeeze into the gap turning in, he was able to get in there. And I was able to sit again, and I thought, sure, here we go, this could be it, you know.
Some feeling.
Unbelievable. Like, I don't know, maybe it ruins every other race after it, I don't know, because it's a high that I've never felt before, and it just takes the winning to another level, like.
Paul Townend, he's a wonderful jockey. He is a terrific human being. Jane, it's a sort of story that you wouldn't have written. I mean, there's a wonderful human element about it, isn't there? Everybody makes mistakes.
Well, Paul, I can relate to you when you play back a replay and you stop it. I've done that. Because, of course, this is racing.
Yeah.
And the measure of the man, when he came out the next day, everybody wanted him and willed him to do well, because it's just one of those things, and move forward, and the way he rode him in the Gold Cup, it's true professional.
He's a heck of a fella.
Yeah, he's a right fella. Has been a right fella all his life. He's a good old pedigree, and he loves the game. He's in the right yard, right people around him, and he appreciates it. And he appreciates the big days as well too. Never gets beyond himself. He's been champion jockey before. He's a young man. He's a fine rider. All he needs now is a bit of good health, and he'll enjoy another 10 years of it.
And we got more on Paul tomorrow. A bit of the feature, more of the story. We're going to join Andy now.
I have the pleasure of David Casey's company, who works for Willie Mullins here, and he's going to give us a run through the 3 Willie Mullins horses. And first of all, if we can get a look down, David, they're all... Bell's Hill, I suppose, is behind us here. He's definitely the biggest of the 3, isn't he?
Yeah, he's a grand big horse, fine big stamp of a horse, jumps well. Obviously didn't run his race in Cheltenham this year, but loves to run Punchestown. I think he's unbeaten in 3 Grade 1s around here. Won the race last year, defending champion, so seems in really good form at home, and we're looking forward to him.
David Mullins is quite confident of his chances?
David's always confident, yeah.
Yeah, that's his personality. And of the rest of them, if we look right behind us here, this, I believe, is Gold Cup winner Alboom Photo about to get saddled.
Yeah, obviously a smashing horse, Alboom. He was very impressive in Cheltenham this year. Looked like winning the Grade 1 here last year, novice, until unfortunate accident. And he seems in good form again at home. And if he brings that level of form again to the table, then he's definitely going to be competitive.
There can be, for a Gold Cup winner, there can be a little mistake in him from now and then.
Yeah, but I think there was as a novice, definitely. But I think he's definitely better this year. He's learning more, and he's definitely more clever than he used to be anyway. So hopefully he'll be okay.
From experience. And if I can find your third runner, Kemboy, has also just been saddled by Harold Kirk.
Yeah, it was very impressive in Aintree. Was unlucky to fall at the first, or fall over at the first in Cheltenham. Has done nothing wrong. Was very impressive in Leopardstown and in Aintree. So hopefully Aintree hasn't taken the edge. It doesn't seem to have done at home. And again, goes there with his chance.
And while a good-looking horse, he is a bit smaller than the others.
Yeah, he wouldn't have the stamp of the other 2, but yeah, he still has the ability.
And a little bit keen as well. Do you think he's settling with a bit of age?
Yeah, he can race a little bit today, but I think he's okay. Yeah.
Very good. Thank you very much, David.
Thanks, Andy. Cheers. Thank you.
Yes, an important cog in the WP Mullins bandwagon. David Casey, on we go. The moment of truth shortly coming. The Coral Punchestown Gold Cup. Here are the runners and riders for this €300,000 contest. Of course, Alboom Photo, Kemboy. We have 177,000 to the winner, 60,000 for second, 30 for third. Last year's winner, of course, Bell's Hill was a 4-1 winner. 1 for the Punchestown Gold Cup is Alboom Photo. Paul Townend riding for Willie Mullins. 2 Bell's Hill, David Mullins. 3 definitely red is Danny Cook. Number 4, Kemboy, Ruby Walsh. 5, Mona Lee, Rachel Blackmore. Sean Flanagan is aboard Snow Falcon. Number 6, Sub-Lieutenant Jack Kennedy, wearing 7. And 8, the Storyteller, Davy Russell. And this will be a story to tell. This year's renewal of the Punchestown Gold Cup.
It's a proper race, isn't it? And this is the beautiful Alboom Photo. He's run 8 times over fences. He's won 4 of them. He was so strong at the finish at Cheltenham, and that really impressed me. He looks a picture. He's a 13-to-8 joint favourite, and I can't see him I can't wait to see him in faster paces. He's a proper one. Paul rides him.
Bell's Hill, he's a 9-year-old who's had 22 runs, and he's won 11 of those 22 races. He's a fantastic servant to connections. If he can put his Gold Cup run behind where Ruby pulled him up early, he didn't get a hard race that day. And when he beat Jack Adam Road to Respect in Sub-Lieutenant last year, in this race, he was awesome.
3 is definitely red. Brian Ellison's runner. Brian with a great lot of success over here. He brought down the race that Alboom Photo won at Cheltenham, the Gold Cup. I watched him when he was, I thought he was sure to win at Kelso, but he got beat by Captain Redbeard. Before that, he'd beat Double Shuffle at Aintree and done it well. He's a good staying horse. 25 to 1's a big price about him, but he'd want to be on his best. Definitely red to have you shout here today.
Well, Kemboy has really come of age. He is a 7-year-old, only a 7-year-old like Alboom Photo. Now, David Mullins rode him at Leopardstown at Christmas when he used enterprising tactics, and they were successful. He went to the front with the circuit to run, and he ran on really well to beat Mona Lee and Road to Respect. Lost his rider at the first in the Gold Cup, and then came back at Aintree. He was silky smooth under Ruby Walsh, and Ruby rides him again today.
Monali represents the same connections as Manila Indo. He's a very good horse. He won a Grade 1 at Leopardstown last year, the Flogas Novice Chase under Noel Feely, and he came back this year, won the Red Mills Chase at Gorn, where he beat Annabelle Fly, who was subsequently second in the Cheltenham Gold Cup. This horse ran fourth behind Frodon in the Ryanair Chase. The distance is a question mark. Does he stay 3 miles? We'll find out today.
6 is Snow Falcon. We spoke to him, Noel, earlier on. This fella ran all right behind Jet after been off for a long time. He hadn't run since he beat Monali at Down Royal, and the Runnel have brought him on. But as Noel says, it's a big ask here against proper Grade 1 horses, proper sort of Gold Cup horses, and 33 to 1 probably represents his chance.
Well, Sub-Lieutenant was a course and distance winner here in December, but what a great run he put in last time out in the Topham. He was second best. He was second best to Cadmium, but it showed that he'd still got his sparkle. He's won 5 times over fences. He wasn't fluent at Cheltenham when he was pulled up behind Frodon. He's a 33 to 1 chance here, but a real good sort still.
And the last in the lineup is the Storyteller. As we saw from the Album Photo clip, this horse was the fortuitous winner of the Grade 1 here last year when Album Photo carried out Finian's Oscar. And that's been the story of his season. He was a Cheltenham Festival winner last year in Handicap Company, and he's just short of Grade 1 level. He'll do well just to pick up prize money here.
The Gold Cup was won by Album, but it's a race we can have a look at again and see how he did it. I thought he was really strong at the finish. I mean, he saw out the trips.
Yeah, he stays well. He stays well. As Paul says, he got a grand run through and jumps this the second last, jumps it well, reached a little bit for it, but he got the far side quick and well, and he keeps going. One thing about him is he stays well. Tony Martin's horse runs on to be second. The others just don't get home, but he jumps the last well. Never looked like getting beat from here up. The one thing about him is, if he's in front going to the last, it's going to take a good horse to pass him, because there's nothing soft about him. It goes to the line well.
This is going to be a true run race. You'd have to imagine Ruby might go forward on Kemboy as he did in Aintree, and that would give Paul a nice target to aim at. Realistically, there's only 8 runners in here, so you'd like a nice, clean, straightforward race and no unlucky story. You just want a fair race and the best horse to win.
Jane, Kemboy's interesting because, as I said, David rode him at Leopardstown earlier in the season, and this is the Aintree Bowl. Ruby's on him here. I think he makes just about all the running, does he? And
he does, yeah, but this was a soft race. A bit like Min winning the day he won too. The horses behind, in fairness, never looked like they were ever going to get to him. I know Kemboy's a good horse, but I mean, I can't for one moment think that the 3 or 4 horses behind him here are quite as inferior to Kemboy as they were that day.
Like, you'd have to say Balco de Flo, if he was in here, he'd be 66 to 1. He finished second. So it was a very good performance. He won well on the day, take nothing away from him, but he will have had a hard race, and we've seen some horses, they don't do the treble. I know he departed early in Cheltenham, but he still went there, he still travelled there, and he got a hard race in Aintree. It's going to be difficult to do the 3.
Now, the horse I like, which is Bells Hill, last year's winner, 3 times a winner here at the festival. This is him winning last year when Sub-Lieutenant was 4th.
Yeah, he beat Jackadam on this occasion. Jackadam is in the Ritchie colours there in the centre, Bells Hill over on the far side, and he beats him well enough at the death. David doesn't arrive until he's going down to the last. He knows he has him covered every step of the way. All he wants to do is jump the last, and he jumps it well. And when he gets there, then he gets a little bit idle. David has to get serious with him. He doesn't do a lot in front of some fella, just waits a bit. We saw he just got up at Leopardstown the day he beat Road to Respect. And today, you think he was going to beat Jackadam 3 or 4 lengths, but he's always holding him. He's just hanging on to plenty. He'll be hard to beat if he's the horse that we saw there last year.
Yeah, he looks a picture as well.
The tactics will be interesting here. Kemboy made it, or went to the front past in the stands at Leopardstown with David Mullins, thought the gallop wasn't good enough. It was the right tactics. Ruby jumped out at Liverpool. He got a kind of a solo in front, was able to dictate it, jumps a little bit to his right. He's not going to get a solo here because these lads, both Bells Hill and Albroom Photo, get every yard of the trip, and they'll be pressing him from a long ways out to make sure that he'll know whether he stays or not after today anyway, you know. Monali likes to be handy. I don't know whether Rachel will force the tactics on him, but Henry likes his horses ridden prominent as well.
It's time.
The field have assembled for the Coral Punchestown Gold Cup, and it is pretty much as you'd expected. The likes of Bells Hill, Monaghy and Kemboy lining up handy. Alboom Photo looks a picture, and he came down very nice and calmly. He looked really relaxed coming down, having a look at the fence just beside us here. One who came down keen was Kemboy, but we'd spoken about him earlier. He can race quite keenly, so that would be and was quite anxious beforehand, but that's his character too.
That's it, we're racing for the Coral Punchestown Gold Cup over 3 miles, and Kemboy goes straight into the lead with Bells Hill definitely red and Monaghy all close on hand. Just behind them is the cheek piece Sub-Lieutenant as they take fence number 1. He's in behind Alboom Photo, who jumped that well. The Storyteller towards the inside as they make their way quickly on now towards fence number 2, which is the first of the ditches. 17 in all to be jumped. Definitely red comes through to pick it up. From in second spot towards the outside is Monaghy. Kemboy's right there on the inner. They're being followed by Alboom Photo. Bells Hill is next. Just behind them is Snow Falcon. The Storyteller is towards the inside of Sub-Lieutenant. So now they turn to leave the back straight behind them for the first time, heading on towards fences 3 and 4, which will bring them into the straight for the first time. And Kemboy and Definitely Red possibly just from Kemboy. Little Keen on the inside, hasn't quite just settled, being followed by Monaghy in third, representing Blackmore, de Bromhead and Maloney, who have taken their previous grade 1 with Manila Indo. It'll be a big double for them if this fella can back it up. They're being followed back in 4th spot as they race towards the first 2 fences down along the side of the track by Bells Hill. Alboom Photo is next as they land over that one, and they're being chased by Snow Falcon and the Storyteller, and Sub-Lieutenant gets a nudge at the back. So now they make their way on towards the fence before they turn into the straight. This will be fence 4. Definitely Red leads, being followed on the outside by Monaghy, who's going to come right up and join at this one. Little between them, Kemboy jumped to 3rd, being followed in 4th spot by Alboom Photo, then Bells Hill, Sub-Lieutenant, Snow Falcon and the Storyteller, and they're making their way now on the turn into the straight first time, heading towards fences 5 and 6, and it's Definitely Red representing the Brian Ellison team. Danny Cook aboard towards the outside, Monaghy and Rachel Blackmore, 90 winners this season following our recent race, being followed towards the inside by Kemboy, the Aintree victor. Ruby Walsh aboard. He's won this race 5 times from Imperial Call through to Boston Bob, the most recent. Oh, Kemboy, in fact, rather, Alboom Photo hit it hard. Alboom Photo crashed out through at Paultown and the Gold Cup winner, but remains intact. Just inside this one in the Wiley Silks is Bells Hill, last year's winner, David Mullins aboard, being followed towards the inside by the Storyteller. So fortuitous here last year. Davy Russell aboard. Just behind this one is the pink jacket of Snow Falcon, the Kerry National winner, and Sub-Lieutenant second at Aintree last time is last of all as they pass the post. And Kemboy, who hasn't just spat it out just yet, still leads along in the Supreme Racing Silks from Definitely Red, brought down in the Cheltenham Gold Cup. He sits second, and third is Monaghy. Towards the inside is Bells Hill, being followed by Alboom Photo and the yellow and black check jacket. Sub-Lieutenants on the outside of the Storyteller, and they're being followed by Snow Falcon as they go now towards fence 7 on the climb, and Kemboy leads them out over it as they all take that safely and head into the top turn. Kemboy Definitely Red from in third, Monaghy. They're being followed towards the inside by Bells Hill. Alboom Photo is close 5. Just behind them, Sub-Lieutenant on the inside, the Storyteller, and last of all is Snow Falcon. So now they go towards the first of the fences, bringing them away from the stands. Fences 8, 9 and 10. Kemboy Definitely Red, Monaghy. And we've almost lost Snow Falcon. Hit it very hard. Great recovery there by Sean Flanagan, but he's lost a lot of ground, and he's going to do well to make it back from here as they head down the hill to go down towards the ditch. It's Kemboy Definitely Red, Monaghy the 1, 2, 3, being followed by Bells Hill in 4, then Alboom Photo, Sub-Lieutenant towards the outside of the Storyteller, and Snow Falcon trying to recover position as they go down now towards the ditch. And Kemboy has never given Ruby Walsh a quiet moment. In second is Definitely Red and Danny Cook. Third, Monaghy Rachel Blackmore towards the inside as they land over that one. Bells Hill was next, and then Alboom Photo, the Storyteller, Sub-Lieutenant and Snow Falcon. Now they go towards the final fence before they turn into the back straight, and up front it is Kemboy on the inside of Definitely Red. They land together. Back in third is Bells Hill, and fourth behind these is Monaghy, and they're being followed by Alboom Photo, the Storyteller, Sub-Lieutenant and Snow Falcon. 2 miles behind them, a mile ahead of them, Jane Mangan. They're nicely strung out. Which one is the one to be on?
Well, Kemboy's doing an awful lot in Ruby's hands. He'd prefer if Definitely Red would leave him alone. He's pestering him in front, whereas David Mullins is laughing in third place, getting the run of the race there in Bells Hill in a lovely rhythm. Alboom Photo's going to have to warm up into things. He's had a couple of sketchy jumps as well as there. Bells Hill to me looks like the one where everything is going as plan A.
Well, they make their way now midway along the far side of the track. They're directly across from the position I'm in here. It's definitely Red and Kemboy who take it. Alboom Photo reached for that one. He did make ground, but he'll have given away some energy there. Bells Hill is next as they make their way now towards the ditch at the end of the back straight. Definitely Red and Kemboy. Alboom Photo's gone in pursuit in third. They're being followed by Bells Hill as they land over this one. And behind this, Monolith got close. Then the Storyteller, Snow Falcon and Sub-Lieutenant. Now they make their way towards the 5 furlong pole, making their way towards 4 from home. Monolith's about to be pulled up. Monolith's the first to go. He's out of it as they make their way now towards the turn into the side of the track. Kemboy. Definitely Red is second. In third behind these is Alboom Photo, then Bells Hill, the Storyteller, Snow Falcon, and last of all is Sub-Lieutenant. Down along the side of the track they go. They've got 4 left to jump in this, the Coral Punchestown Gold Cup, and Kemboy is still running away. Is he doing too much? In second is definitely Red. The Cheltenham Gold Cup winner Alboom Photo goes into third. Last year's Gold Cup winner here, Bells Hill, is close 4. They clear the first. Oh, Bells Hill got low, and that won't help as they go towards the third last. It's still Kemboy who has the advantage. Definitely Red's come under pressure. Alboom Photo's warming up now. They're being followed by Bells Hill, and Snow Falcon, to his credit, has made his way back into the inside. Now the fence before the turn in. Kemboy, Alboom Photo, Bells Hill behind them with definitely Red, and the two have gone to the front and they've gone clear. Paul Townend looks behind. He must think he has a chance on the inside of her, covering Ruby Walsh. They turn towards home. They're quickening away on the inside. Kemboy on the near side. Paul Townend gets lower now on Alboom Photo. Bells Hill's back in third. You can forget the rest. They go towards the second last in the Coral Punchestown Gold Cup. Alboom Photo and Kemboy take it together, and Kemboy was quicker. Alboom Photo has to rally to challenge back now. Bells Hill's back in third, going towards the final fence. It's Kemboy in front. He's opening up from Alboom Photo in second. They've gone clear. Final fence for Kemboy. Alboom Photo is second. They open up towards the line, and it's Kemboy who's beginning to go clear. 3, 4 legs clear. Kemboy with Alboom Photo trying to come back again. He's game, but not enough. It's Kemboy who wins the Gold Cup. Ruby Walsh waves. Back in second is Alboom Photo. The Storyteller third. Bells Hill is 4. Back in 5 is definitely Red. Snow Falcon is next, and then Sub-Lieutenant. We anticipate so many horse races, not all delivered, but that one just has. The 2 champions have gone clear, and Kemboy, to his credit, he went to every dance this year. He went to Leopardstown, he went to the Dublin Racing Festival, Cheltenham, Aintree, and he has come out on top here against the Cheltenham Gold Cup winner. All credit to Willie Mullins. All credit to Ruby Walsh, who wins for his 6th time, and well done to the Supreme Racing Syndicate.
What a horse this must be. He was doing so much for Ruby all the way through, but goodness, he kept pulling out. Alboom Photo looked very, very dangerous, but this winner, he's good.
He is good because he did it the hard way. He was free every step of the way. Bells Hill was getting the ground. Paul looks over under his legs there just to see what's behind him. You thought he'd measure. Ruby just kept sparing this old fella in front all the way. He never let him go, even though he was free. He never let him go. And when he wanted him over the last 2, which is most important, he answered. And that's when you want that leopard, that second last. He got in there, was quick. The other fella landed in a bit of a heap. Paul is to grab a hold of him. Ruby sets about him going to the last. And this is where you need a good lep as well too. And he gave it again. Ruby is hard at him down. A couple of smacks. He goes down to the last, maybe a length or so up, and jumps it well again. Up you go, and away he goes to the back of it. Gets a smack in from there, and he keeps going well. To his credit, stays well, doesn't he?
He stays very well. I'm interested to see. Are Ruby's arms a bit tired after that?
I wouldn't think so. I'd say you couldn't tire him out. There he is, winning connections. Andy Mack. Tom.
Yes, indeed, out here on the track, and with a delighted Ruby Walsh. Ruby, 2 grade 1s on this fella in 4 weeks. Not bad going.
Some going, Tom. He was plenty keen and fresh today, and definitely Red made it end to end and made it very honest. But he jumped brilliantly bar. I can't remember if one of them, somewhere along the way, he made a bit of a mistake, but when I needed him to the second last and again at the last, he was mustard. He was just very, very good. I mean, I don't know why I decided to ride him today and not Bells Hill, and why I rode Bells Hill in the Gold Cup. They're just decisions you have to make, but I got it right today.
Tell me about his running style, because he likes to be assertive, he likes to be aggressive. Does that make it a lot easier, or actually does it make it far more complex? Because the danger's in behind lurking. You haven't got rear view mirrors, you've got to make judgment calls at high speed.
Yeah, it can be, but you ride a horse like this at home working, Route rides him all the time, and he works with so many gears. You can often get confused, and you think they're fast horses, but they're not. They have a high cruising speed, they have a lot of pace, and this fella is able to use that cruising speed and that pace, and he got into a great rhythm jumping here today. the rest is history.
And whatever happens the next 3 days, hopefully plenty more winners for your good self. But it's been some season when you look back, particularly across the last 3 weeks. Certainly Fairy House, Borough Saint, go back a little further, Cheltenham Aintree. You must be pretty pleased.
Yeah, so I missed 6 months of it through injury. That's the life of a jump jockey. You know, and again I got going. It was only right to let Paul try and beat Rachel, and he has. You know, it's great to be part of a team like Willie's. There's so many good horses and great people to work with every day, and you know, I suppose you get older, you learn to be part of a team and not just to be selfish, and that was wonderful.
Another golden moment. Long may it continue. Ruby Walsh, thank you.
What a shame this horse departed the Gold Cup at the first. You wouldn't know what would have happened. Jane, he's only 7 years old. He's got a huge future.
Huge future. He's done it the hard way because he's beaten the Cheltenham Gold Cup winner having done things wrong through the race. You can only imagine if he got a freebie like he did at Aintree, he wouldn't have come off the bridle. We questioned the opposition at Aintree. There was no questioning today. He beat Album Photo fair and square, Cheltenham Gold Cup winner in behind him, and they pulled clear of the third Bells Hill. It was a very polished performance and strong at the line. He stays all day, obviously appreciates the trip. Despite Ruby saying he has all the gears in the world, that's just the epitome of a very, very top-class horse. And it was a joy to watch. And a joy to watch the man on board. He's poetry. He's poetry, and it's easy maybe for people looking on to take for granted that, you know, Ruby rides the winners. But he rides the winners because he's the best in the weight room. He from the front in behind. We saw him with Vaude Rev, a relatively poor jumper last week in Fairy House. He can get horses into a rhythm, and despite this horse not settling every inch of the way, he's still got a breather into him.
Yeah, it's a very emotional day for me too, because he's a great jockey. I don't think at 40 years of age we'll see much more of him.
Well, we'll watch this space, Ted. There's definitely a lot of emotion. He's won 6 of these races. He's been the greatest champion ever in the saddle, and God, you're going to make us all emotional if this is remarkable.
We saw him reign supreme in the Irish National. A very different type of horse here today. He made the running. It just doesn't matter to the man, and he's won everything that's needed to be won. And no fuss about it. He's just been the ultimate professional, and anybody looking on, this is the man you should be watching.
He is going to get some reception. Ruby's children enjoying the moment, and what a moment.
Wonderful scenes here. The crowds are really gathering in around. I know the syndicate are massive, but if you look outside the parade ring, the crowds are 10 deep to see a proper good horse and a proper champion in Ruby and Willie. Willie going to be crowned champion again, but Ruby reigns supreme here, and you know, it's just, when you come to these festivals, you want to see the best horse, the best rider, the best connections win, and they've seen that. They can appreciate talent, they can appreciate that they've seen something sublime. And
Maureen Mullins there, 90 years of age this July. 90 this July, isn't she a great woman? The enthusiasm she has for it, and she must have got a great kick out of all the lads, how successful they've been, and her grandchildren as well. There's the winning connections. That's a one for the gallery anyway, that I can tell you.
He's a good quiet horse. He's taking it all in his stride.
Yeah. There's a fair old partnership for the last 25 years as well too.
It's been a remarkable story all the way through, and what a career by Ruby, do you know, I mean, when you think of the Paul Nicholls years and then the Willie years, do you know, I mean, there hasn't been a more successful jump jockey ever.
Well,
how many championships in this country?
12 championships, just short of a couple of hundred winners, short of 3,000 winners, about 20 short of 2,000 winners in Ireland, 2 Gold Cups, 2 English nationals, 3 Irish nationals, 59 Cheltenham Festival winners.
The most successful ever.
Yeah, well, big race winners. I mean, there've been lots of great. I've been lucky enough to be a part of some great jockeys all my life, and this one is definitely special.
Telling me, Ted, well done, and David Casey giving his congratulations, or everybody getting in on congratulating this man who we won't see next season. What a champion. Here is Willie, and he's talking to Tracy.
Yes, amazing scenes down here in the winners' enclosure, and as you were saying, it was 10 deep here, so I had to battle my way through to get to you, Willie. Many, many congratulations.
I couldn't get in, so I couldn't. I had to go around and produce my press pass to get into to talk to Ruby. It was 10, 12 deep here, yeah. It was incredible. I mean, I was absolutely delighted. It's fantastic. Thanks very much. Thank you. And you know, I was, what can you say? It was a terrific race. Definitely Red pushed him the whole way.
No excuses. Just the better horse won, the better jumper won, really.
Yeah, he jumped fantastic. Bells Hill probably didn't jump well enough. Album Photo probably just wasn't. Paul said he just was a little bit dead, the pace that went. And probably, I would say, the lack of rain probably made the difference to him, you know, so...
My God, what a winner.
Yeah, terrific for Supreme Racing. You know, they've been there through thick and thin, and there's been a lot of thin. Believe me, when you have racehorses, there's a lot of that. And never a word. We just crack on with the horses that are ready to crack on with, and you know, the others, they have to be retired or whatever. But I'm delighted for them. They really epitomise what owning racehorses is about. They just wade through the bad ones and enjoy them as well for what they are. Little races down the country, but I'm delighted to have a horse like him now.
And we must talk about Ruby. I mean, a sensational piece of riding once again. I mean, he's just unbelievable.
He is. I mean, fantastic performance from Ruby there. So absolutely delighted for him as well.
It's been a magical partnership.
Yes, it is. That anyhow,
he's just announced his retirement.
Well, I didn't know whether he had or not, so there you are. He said it to me, but I didn't know when he wanted to do it, whether now or later on. So that's fantastic. You know, it's an era gone by. But let's listen to Ruby. He's making a speech now.
Okay, well done again, Willie. Well done.
Here because they've been following you all your life, and of course there've been lots of questions over the last week or two, and people have probably been afraid to ask you as well. But there's the family as well, actually. But as in, ladies and gentlemen, can I ask you to give 3 rounds of applause or 3 cheers? Hip hip! Hip hip! Hip hip! Congratulations. There'll be plenty more presentations to come. There's a fantastic crowd here this afternoon and this evening. Ruby Walsh brings down his riding career here this afternoon. He wins the Punchestown Gold Cup in tremendous style, and there'll be plenty of celebrations for him. Congratulations, Ruby. You've given us many memorable days. And the 3 daughters are here as well. Your wife, Gillian, Ted, all the family are here, so they are. Congratulations.
Turn around for one. Turn around. Just Gillian, nice and relaxed.
What have you seen?
His mum, Helen. What a his wife, and everybody here. Katie, the only one who's missing, his sister, who was with us yesterday and has gone to supervise her breeze-ups, but she'll be watching in. And this was a plan. Jane, it's been the most incredible career.
We've been privileged to see him to strut his stuff for 25 years. I don't know any rider who could have done what he did as regards hold down the Paul Nicholls job and the Willie Mullins job when Paul Nicholls had big bucks masterminded Cato Star Denman, he could still come home and ride the best of Willie Mullins's. It's very few people could keep Paul Nicholls and Willie Mullins happy at the same simultaneously. He was riding in the King George on the Saturday and coming home to Leopardstown here on the Sunday. He's just an amazing man. He's the ultimate talent, and it wasn't about numbers. Like Tony McCoy, he notched up the numbers to be champion jockey. For Ruby, it was all about grade ones. He wanted to ride the top quality horses, and he succeeded in doing that because he's won nationals multiple times, Gold Cups multiple times, and when he went to Cheltenham he was 10 pounds better than everyone else. He came into his own.
Jane, what made him that good though? I mean, what were the qualities that made him supreme?
Well, as a rider you can say he rides deep and he's brilliant over a fence. He can get a horse to settle and he can cut a horse into thinking that they're travelling better than they realistically are. But the man's head, he's so determined. We saw him here going out. We obviously weren't aware what was about to happen. Ted was, but he came over and he was chatting because he's so used to going out on the big day. The pressure doesn't get to him, and he's probably one of those riders that revels on the big day, and he's just one of those people does things wrong less than everybody else.
Telling me 12 championships and how many winners did you say at Cheltenham, or did we something extraordinary?
Just the winning most at Cheltenham and a couple of Gold Cups, champion hurdles. He obviously struck up great partnerships with the likes of Hurricane Fly. Key Vega gave him 6 mares hurdles. Cato Star gave him 2 Gold Cups. He was formidable on the big day, and you know what was this year he wasn't riding every day. Paul Townend will be champion jockey here in Ireland this year, but when Ruby sat up on the Saturday or the Sunday he was never found wanting. He came back from injuries. He went to Cheltenham, he had 1 or 2 rides and rode at the top of his game, having come back from serious injuries. He's just, as they say, he's a consummate professional.
He's broken his leg 3 times. One of the worst days, I think, was when he got the fall at Cheltenham. He was carried away and we didn't know what was wrong. He'd done his spleen and he'd done a vertebra in his back as well too. Days like that you want to forget. Done his hip twice at Listowel, broke his hip at Listowel. Remember Jennifer Ringus, he was on his way to Tralee Hospital. A lot of great surgeons through his, like Bill Quinlan was the first man to lay his hands on him, and he'd done a great job, and he's had many good men since then, since Bill retired. And I must say a man that just passed away recently, Brendan Doyle, was a great help as well too, keeping them together. But he's an iron man. Mind-wise, I don't think there was a stronger mind. He might have been broke a lot of bones, but mentally he was able to come back time after time and be out of action, come back and ride a treble at Cheltenham. There he is.
There's a procession after farming here. Yeah. When he walks back to the weigh room, all his colleagues have come out to wish him well. It's a wonderful scene here. Just 5 or 6 deep all the way around the parade ring here in Punchestown. The atmosphere is electric.
Well, it's a long time ago since he was at Punchestown as a kid, when he was 9 or 10, less 7 or 8, to get a few days off of school and kill. And coming up here, there's Brendan Sheridan, who moulded him as well most of his life when he was a young fella. I always said to him when he started off, I said, Richard Dunwoody was my idol when he was starting to ride. I said, if you can ride like Dunwoody, I said, you won't be going too bad. And I think he got that far anyway. Great partnership between himself and Willie and Paul Nicholls. He rode, lucky enough to ride for 2 of probably as good a trainers as we've ever seen in Paul Nicholls and Willie Mullins, and he rode for both of them for a very long time. His whole career was around both of them. Started with Willie, then Paul. He was 6 or 7 years with Paul, rode all them good horses, Cato Star and Masterminded. I mean, he's been a very fortunate man too. He's put his legs across some of the best horses we've seen in the last 20 years. There's the 3 girls, Isabel, Elsa and Gemma. Erica's not here, she's too small. Gillian, his wife, a great partnership too. He was surrounded by good women as well too. Good pal of his, Conrad Dwyer. Gillian, great partnership in Gillian. And Jennifer, his oldest sister, who looked after him right through the whole time and patched up a lot of little troubles along the way with trainers and one thing and the other. And the great mother, Helen, is down there as well too. There's Jennifer just looking up here towards the crowd. She's working with us here today. Delighted the 3 girls are here as well too. And there's Noel Dorden, Gillian's father, who'd be an uncle of Willie's. Isn't he like Willie?
we're gonna
have. There's young Gemma. She's the second. She's the cheeky stem as well too. Elsa on the right here, and Isabel on the left of our pictures. Angela Dorn, Gillian's mother on the far side. Isn't all very like Willie when you see him there? He's a brother of Maureen's. And Pat Healy just getting the pictures. There'll be many great pictures here, and many people getting pictures with him. He was a hardy fella.
We will have lots more on this story, on this career, on this man after our break. Join us again. Remarkable scenes at Punchestown. Ruby Walsh, the greatest rider that we've ever seen over fences. He is in the winner's enclosure. He's with Gillian and his children, Isabel and Elsa and Gemma, and Davy Russell. There you go. And he's come to join us. He's a little bit wet. Oh boy, Ruby. These are remarkable scenes. It's a remarkable day. You're a remarkable man, and thanks for coming up to join us. I don't know where to start, but your career in the saddle, you have said, is over. What a career it's been.
Yeah, it's been so lucky, Robert, from day one to ride so many incredible horses. I never dreamt I'd get to ride the likes of the equine horses, the equine athletes that I rode. And no jockey's any good without the horses, and the horses are such a huge part of it. You know, from the very beginning, from Imperial Call here 20 years ago to Alexander Banquet, Cotto Star, Big Bucks, Masterminded, Denman, Hurricane Fly, Quiviga, Andy Power, Kemboy, you name them, Undersow. I rode in anyone's lifetime. I rode all the best.
And you've seen every side of it, though, do you know? I mean, the injuries, you haven't escaped them.
No, but look, I suppose everyone gets their fair share. I probably got a fraction more than my fair share, but the average is someone has to have a high average to make up for the lads on the low end, and I was probably on the higher end of that. But
you definitely were.
But that's racing, you know. And you know,
the big occasion meant an enormous amount to you.
To me, that's what I was always taught as a kid. It was all about the big day. He taught it to me, and that's what it was all about. It was about the big day, and you know, to me, I suppose, being honest, if Rat Finnan had won the Grand National, I probably would have bowed out to him. There's no bigger stage than that, but that didn't happen.
This couldn't be more appropriate, though. This is home, isn't it?
That was it. You know, I talked to Gillian about it a good while ago, and there comes a time when you want to do something else. And I've been a jump jockey for
24 years.
24 years, and I'm nearly 40, and I thought I want to do something else for the next 24 or 5 years, and I'm lucky enough to have great sponsors and contacts in racing TV, the Irish Examiner and Paddy Power, and instead of them being bit part players in my life, they're going to be my life now.
Well, I want to talk about the future as well, but this is all about the present, and it's all about history, and we're seeing it here. Cotto Star, best steeplechaser, Hurricane Fly. I mean, where did they all fit in?
I think it's very unfair to compare horses in different generations. It's like comparing athletes or footballers or rugby players or everything. You were only the best in your day, or on their day. Is Kemboy a better horse than Alboom Photo? He was today, but he mightn't be next March. And that's what sport is, and that's what drives sport. I mean, who's the best footballer, Messi or Ronaldo? Who knows? They're two brilliant footballers. But that's the debate and the argument, and that's why people love sport.
Ruby, what about the future now? I mean, you're talking about racing TV. Are you going to be involved physically, though? Are you going to go training? I
don't think so. Not in this environment, in this country. I want horses will always be part of my life. I love working for Willie, and I'll continue to do so. But
might do an odd day for me if you want to.
If you're lucky. But yeah, look, it'll be racing TV, the Irish Examiner. I've enjoyed great relations with them, and with Paddy Powers. And instead of they being on the side of riding, they'll be getting all my attention now, and you know, that's the future.
Ted, you've seen the embryo. I mean, this was always going to be his life. Nobody knew he was going to be this successful.
No.
But, I mean, did you see a very determined, very good riding,
Yeah, he was always well able to ride. The one thing I didn't see, and nobody could see, is the mind he had. I mean, to put up with the adversity of certain things that happened, he was great. He was able to take the pressure of the big occasion at a very young age, which is a great thing. I think having great success at a young age was a great thing. He was never cocky, but always confident in his own ability, and he always rode his own races. He got to master, like somebody like Tiger Woods mastering Augusta. He got to master Cheltenham very early on in life, and it signs on. Like, he rode great horses there. He rode 59 individual festival winners there, and he rode a lot of other winners at the other meetings. That's a big track. He was always good on the big occasions from a young age, and he had the mind to do that. He was able to adjust it, as you said earlier on, whether he was making the run or taking his time. He wasn't a front running jockey, but yet when he was in front, you knew he was dangerous. If he wasn't in front and he was coming from behind you, the lads knew that, where is he now? He had that, like, and he had that sort of thing about it. He had the respect of the lads he rode with as well. He rode in a great era. He rode for many great trainers, but two probably of the greatest trainers we have seen in Paul Nicholls and Willie Mullins, and he appreciated. I think his appreciation of everything he was able to do was a great thing, and then the rest of it just fell into place. I'll miss it, but I didn't think I'd get 24 years in it.
Funny, I don't think I'm going to.
No, you won't. No, you won't. You won't. But I mean,
I couldn't. I'm an Album Fodder broke his leg and broke my leg even in Cheltenham last year. The thoughts of another 4 months of rehab, and I'll even be honest, without Enda King's help in Santry, I wouldn't have even got the last 3 years out of my career. Like, physically, what I put my body through. And Brendan Doyle for good 20 odd years, Lord rest, Lord have mercy on him. But you know, those guys got an extra 3 or 4 years out of me that physically I couldn't do. And I look across the Wareham of Richard Johnson and I marvel at him, how at his age, his commitment and his drive to do what he does, to me, is amazing.
Getting inside a horse's mind, is that part of a jockey's remit? I mean, you're very, very good at, on all sorts of different horses, different types, different everything, Ruby. Do you feel that...
No, you can't get inside their mind, and to think that you can master or control a horse, you can't. You're 10 stone, you're trying to control a half a ton. You can only try and get it to cooperate slightly in the way you want it, but you can't get inside his mind or master it. You have to try and guide it and hope you get it right. But look, Robert, no jockey is any good without the good horses, and I rode all the equine stars.
It's been an absolute huge pleasure and an honour. And Ruby,
it's a long time since he led you in here.
You still should have won it.
Okay, thanks, Ruby.